Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio, but it isn't live. It's pre-recorded because it's all happening today. So we're not live, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't get involved in the comments. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United stories we will be covering today. We're going to be talking about the Glazers. There's some stories there that maybe they've got reservations about selling. A couple of the Glazer brothers apparently not keen on selling, which maybe there's a way that they can be convinced. A perfectly legal way, I hasten to add, but a way they can be convinced. We'll also have Victor Osimhen's story and a lovely picture of Eric Ten Hag and Sir Alex Ferguson that almost broke the internet last night, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And just as an aside, can I just mention the fact it was pretty funny watching Liverpool get battered by Real Madrid in the Champions League last night. Yes, we're not in the Champions League. Who wants to be? Europa's where it's at. But it's still funny laughing at our rivals getting thumped 5-2 at home to Real Madrid. It just amazes me, Real Madrid. They sold the best midfielder in the world in Casemiro, and they're still mint. Although someone pointed out to me on Twitter, it is only Liverpool. Anyway, let's talk about Victor Osimhen. He was in action last night for Napoli, and he scored as they beat Eintracht Frankfurt 2-0. He's asked about his future, and there's a story here. I think the Evening News have got it with a quote from him. He says, "When you are doing so well, top clubs around the world are watching." This is him being quoted from a chat he had with ESPN, but it's being quoted in the Manchester Evening News. If you can pick the, sort of carry that thread or follow that thread through. So he says, just going on. He says, "I'm focused on Napoli right now, and they have the final say. I just want to help my team to win matches and win trophies. At the end of the season, we will see what's going to happen, but that is not up to me. It's for the club to decide." Sorry, I said that like there was more, but I realised the last bit isn't actually a quote. So it's for the club to decide. I mean, he's kind of hinting there that it looks like he could be going. It depends on how you interpret it, but it wasn't a sort of steadfast, "I'm going nowhere," was it? It wasn't like, "Well, I'm going nowhere. I want to stay here. My long-term future lies in Naples." It was like, well, it's up to the club. We'll see what happens, da-da-da. So you can get the idea, the impression that he could be open to a move and he could be going. The smart money would be on him going. No disrespect to Napoli. They are, they're a big club in their own right and they've had success and they're doing very well this season, of course. I think they are top of Serie A, aren't they? But let's not kid ourselves here. I think there's a good chance that Victor Osimhen does go in the transfer window. I mean, they're absolutely, I'm just looking here, they're absolutely walking the Serie A. I didn't realise how many points ahead they were. They're 15 points clear at the top of the table over Inter. So yeah, they're flying, he's flying. But historically, you think Napoli are a club that you can get players from. If Manchester United went in with a big offer, because it would take a big offer, because don't forget, Victor Osimhen, I think he was the most expensive African player ever. I think it was around 70 million rising to 80 million. You're not going to get him, especially after the seasons he's had, or the season he's just had especially, less than 100 million. It's going to probably be about 110 million, I think, anyway, to get him to come to Old Trafford. But maybe Manchester United be willing to pay that. New owners potentially coming in, I'll get into that in a minute. A marquee signing, and even if you don't want a marquee signing and it's, new owners wanting to sort of show how dedicated they are to impressing the fans or whatever, or to moving the club forward, we still need a striker. And if we want a striker who's going to help us challenge in the Champions League, challenge at the top of the Premier League, then you need someone who can score you loads of goals and has a good all-round game. And Victor Osimhen has all that. So, for me, Victor Osimhen to United does make a lot of sense. I just hope there's not other clubs looking at him that come in for him as well, because then you could end up with a bit of a bidding war, and that might end up putting United off. So I'd like to see him at Old Trafford. Get involved in the comments and let us know whether you would too. There's been talk a little bit of Harry Kane, talk of Victor Osimhen, a little bit of talk of Dusan Vlahovic as well. Let me know who you fancy. Who would you rather see coming to Old Trafford? Do you think any of those strikers will end up at Old Trafford? Or if you had your choice, it's up to you. Who would you sign? Should we talk about the Glazers? Because this is all a bit worrying. There you go. Joel Glazer concerns confirm Gary Neville's biggest fears about the sale. There was a few stories doing the rounds last night. This is obviously from the Mirror, and this is Gary Neville sort of talking about or reacting to news that it's not all cut and dry that the Glazers are definitely going to sell and leave. There was talk that they've got reservations about selling. I saw a couple of stories doing the rounds last night. I think there's one in the Telegraph maybe and somewhere else saying that there was, I think Joel and Avram Glazer have always had these reservations about selling Manchester United. Of the Glazer clan, they're the ones that really want to keep hold of United. It's the other brothers or the other siblings who don't want to sell you, do want to sell United. Sorry. There's also this idea that, well, why are they putting season ticket prices up? I think that's referenced in this article. It's certainly been referenced in others. So Gary Neville here, as reported in the Telegraph, Joel is not 100% convinced. So this is the Mirror reporting what's going on in the Telegraph. Joel is not 100% convinced on selling United. He and brother Avram have the strongest connections to the Premier League club. What? What does that mean? They don't have any connections to the Premier League club other than taking dividends. That's like pretend they're like fans or anything. Have the strongest connections to the Premier League club. What? Because they've made the most money out of us, or because they've been at Old Trafford twice. Do me a favour. Despite being viewed unfavourably by thousands, if not millions of supporters, almost all United fans don't want the Glazers here, don't like the Glazers. So viewed unfavourably is you're being kind. Why would this is Gary Neville, why would a seller that's leaving before next season introduce something that has brought them more hate and they won't benefit from? This is the season ticket increase. For the first time in 11 years, season tickets have gone up, the prices have gone up by 5%. So Gary Neville's making the argument, well, why would that happen if they were going? Doesn't make any sense, because if you go in, then you wouldn't put season ticket prices up. I'm not so sure. I think there may be different reasons for that. It may even be a sort of parting shot. Who knows? But it does seem a little bit like there's a couple of indications that they're not all 100% dedicated to selling, which does worry a little bit. There was a tweet that went out from Kieran Maguire earlier, and he said, yesterday was a bad one on Wall Street, which down by 2%, but Manchester United's share price caught a cold and went down by over 12%, reducing the market value of United by $530 million in a day. I mean, that speaks for itself. Is that anything to do with rumblings that the Glazers might want to stay on? Because that could have some sort of effect. We'll have to wait and see. It is a little bit worrying. I still feel like they are going to sell and they are going to go. And I still feel like it's going to be between Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Qatari bid. I think it's Sheikh Jassim. But it's not 100% set in stone, and the Glazers are so horrible and selfish and greedy and stupid that maybe they are all of those things enough to try and keep hold of Manchester United Football Club. But I think there will be a massive reaction from the fans. We've already seen it, but you can expect an even bigger one if they try and dig the reels in and try and do something which sees them staying on at the club. As always, get involved in the chat and the comments. One thing I don't like, and what I'm seeing a lot of, I'm just going to say this quickly and move on, is we've seen all these arguments going on with fans and fans having digs at each other about who wants what owner and all this sort of stuff. Now's not the time for us to be turning on one another as fans. The goal has always been to get the Glazers out. And I understand you may have reservations about owners, and I understand that, and you should be free to share those reservations. But I think all this arguing between fans and fans accusing one set of fans of not caring about human rights, other fans accusing other fans of being racist, it's getting a bit toxic. It really is. And it worries me a little bit that all this sort of toxicity between fans is being aimed at the wrong people. The anger and the disappointment, or the energy even, is being aimed at each other, when we should be looking at Glazers and going, look, you've made a lot of money, 18 years you've been here, I hope it makes you very happy. Now take the money, and why don't you go and spend it on some lessons in grace and decorum, because you have all the grace and decorum of a dump truck without any brake lights or whatever it was, I can't remember. If you know, you know. Anyway, should we talk about something a little more cheerier? Eric Ten Hag and Sir Alex Ferguson. This was the photo doing the rounds last night. They're having a meal, talking about Stretford, Paddock, probably how it's their favourite fan channel, how they love us all. I don't know what they were talking about, obviously, but it's good to see the greatest manager of all time having a meal with Sir Alex Ferguson. I'm only joking before you all start giving me grief. It's great to see Eric Ten Hag and Fergie having a chat. I like to see Fergie, still around the club. I don't think he's going to have much influence on Eric Ten Hag. I think Eric Ten Hag's his own man. I don't think he's going to Sir Alex Ferguson going, what should I do against Barcelona? But them two meeting, I don't have a problem with. I think it's a positive thing. And I think, maybe he will ask for, not advice, but maybe he'll just get his thoughts on things and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously, the greatest, the GOAT. So why not have a meal with him? And even if it is just a chat about life, who knows? Maybe they're just sort of catching up. But yeah, good to see. Get involved in the comments, as always. Don't forget, if you've not done, to hit like, share and subscribe. If you're not a member, go and check out our member section. A bit of extra content on there. We've got a vlog. Nearly not the microphone then. Well, I did not the microphone. A couple of vlogs have gone up on there. There's a vlog from our night out in Dublin where we did an event. Might be some more on the horizon. Also, my trip to Barcelona. But on the main channel, we've got loads of videos. We've got the podcast. We've got the preview for the Barcelona game. So excited. Pretty soon later on today, we'll have Adam McCullough here for Uncensored. And then tonight, late tonight, we'll have Paddock Live with me and Joe. Yeah, I'm going to be here till 11 tonight, man. Put the hours in me. Don't you worry about that. Anyway, hit like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jay. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.